TR, welcome back.
Thanks, Jim. Good to be here.
Yeah, like a lot of things on the Done Solutions platform, we get into a lot about installation or proper installation.
Sure.
So I thought we could touch on a few things there. When it comes to panels, one thing that came to mind for me was nailing patterns and how that goes, and maybe you could touch base a little bit on that, do's and don'ts.
Yeah, so you know the APA and the product standard in general, they have a lot of literature on this, and I highly recommend anyone that's getting involved in any sort of, especially exterior application of product that's going to be exposed to moisture, familiarize themselves with it. But probably the biggest thing that we run into as far as problems in the field is buckling due to lack of spacing. So some people think that the nailing pattern will solve the spacing issue. They don't need to space, they just need to nail more. Not true, not the solution. You want to make sure that you leave gap when you're applying wall sheathing, roof sheathing, underlayment. You never want to pound the tongue into the groove. You want to let it sit naturally, let it have some room to expand and contract. And because these panels are naturally going to pick up moisture once out in the elements. Whether it's raining or not, they're just going to, unless it's a very arid environment. So with that being said, then you go into the nailing pattern, and you really just want to apply what the APA recommends or any other graded agency. And usually it's 6 inches on center, you know, right down the line of a wall.
On a sheathing panel.
Yeah, on a sheathing panel along the stud, and similar in the underlayment. And that should be adequate. There's no reason to go hog wild and just, you know, waste a bunch of nails when that will do.
Okay. So the APA is the source that dictates that. It's not the mill. It's not your local code official walking on your job site.
No.
You go to the APA website, you can check out.
Right. Well, and what the mills will say is, did you adhere to what the APA recommends?
Yeah.
You know, if there is a problem out there. And, you know, that's just what you want to go with. It makes it simple, and it takes all the guesswork out of it.
Yeah. Okay. Next question I had for you was related to panel orientation to roof trusses and or floor joists. I know in an early episode you talked about how a panel was laid up, face, core, back. And so with respect to the 8-foot direction of the panel,
sure.
If I put that not across my joint, parallel, you know where I'm going.
Right,
yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
So, you know, you once again, you want to read the guidelines and make sure that you're applying correctly. On underlayment, the one thing that we run into is, which is an oddity to me, is scant face versus full face. And in one of our other segments, I know we touched on this a bit, but basically scant face is a 47.5-inch face, which means that it was tongue and grooved out of a 48-inch panel, whereas a full face is coming out of a 49-inch panel, and they apply the tongue and groove, and you get a full 48-inch face.
Okay.
So that's full face. And when you really think about it, though, these panels are designed to go perpendicular to the floor joist.
Right.
They're not designed to go parallel with the floor joist. And, you know, no one's designing rooms around 47.5-inch or 48-inch. They just want to cover their floor. So it's a kind of a strange anomaly that I've never really figured out, but it started way back when, and we haven't figured out a way as an industry to pull ourselves out of this and just make a standardized, you know, 47.5 or 48-inch, whatever everyone decides.
Yeah.
Because it varies by regions.
Yeah.
And in Seattle, what's interesting is there's both. In Northern California, it's full face only. In Southern California, it's scant face only. So it's just kind of a bizarre regional kind of deal that you got to get used to.
Yeah, it's that panel orientation to what you're attaching it to is interesting. I mentioned we were been working on a house up in Malik Terrace, and the roof was a hodgepodge. We had to totally redo it, but some of the sheathing that we left on there, some cut pieces here and there, every once in a while, you're walking across the roof and whoa, you know. Yeah. So you know somebody put it the wrong orientation because it just buckled.
Yeah, normally it's perpendicular to the roof truss or to the floor joist.
Okay. Last question to close this one out. I'm assuming OSB products follow the same rules as far as spacing. It's not like that performs any differently or
exactly
you can get away with more.
Exactly the same.
Okay.
Yeah, it just takes all the problems out of the equation, really, if you space correctly and nail correctly.
Yeah, love it. Okay. Great episode, man.
Thank you, Jim.
Appreciate it.